Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to be creating some little mini cards today because I need them to go with a couple of gifts. Now I am going to be showing you guys die cut inlay. Now before I even start, I am going to do a kind of stepped up version using some cream cardstock and some white cardstock mixed together as my base. However, if you are new to this technique or you're just giving it a go for the first time, then I would just use one plain piece of cardstock as your base, and that makes things far less complicated. So you would skip this step here. And I know it's hard to tell on camera, but I have a piece of white cardstock, then cream cardstock, and then white again at the top. Now, just to change things a little bit more, halfway through creating this, I have skipped this step in the editing so that you guys don't have to watch through it, but I decided that I wanted the cream piece that goes through the middle to go on an angle instead of going straight across. So I have kind of spared you that footage of having to sit through that, but anyhow, the point is that I end up with a panel that is about 3 1/4 by 4-ish inches. Now I completely made these cards up based on how big the die was that I was using. And there are so many different techniques for die cut inlay, but basically you are die cutting something, then putting the outline back in, and then filling the inside again as well with paper pieces. So it's a lot of paper piecing, and here I've chosen my die to go straight across the center of all 3 of my cardstock strips. As I said, if you have just got one panel doing this, it would make life a lot easier as well, but I really like the look of that subtle cream strip going through the middle of the cardstock. And because these are such simple cards, it's stepping it up a little bit, so I really like that look. Then I am die cutting the same die in some black cardstock, and this is going to be my outline. I really wanted to try some glossy accents with glitter in them today, so that was also part of the reason that I chose to do this card. But I'm just picking out all of the bits, the center pieces from my flower, so that I just have a nice outline there. Then again, there are a few ways to do this, but just to make my life easy, I'm using some double-sided adhesive. This one happens to be the scrapbook.com, but there are lots out there. You can also just use strips of score tape or any double-sided tape to go on the back here, and that means that all of those spaces in the front are now sticky and that I can adhere down the cardstock back into place. So it's up to you. You can also just use some liquid glue, put some plain paper on the back to cover it, and use liquid glue as you go. That works perfectly fine, and I've done that in many videos too. But here I'm going to put in the bits that I die cut to begin with. So in the middle, it's kind of the cream for those 2 flowers that I'm doing at the moment, and then at the top, that one kind of falls into the white portion, so that will have white innards to it. As I said, this is a really kind of clean and simple miniature cards that are going with a couple of gifts just to give you a closer look at die cut inlay. And I know there are so many different ways to do this and so many amazing cards that use this technique. If you would love to show me some, I would really, really appreciate it. I love seeing them. My Facebook group is a great place that you are able to do that. I will leave a link down in the description box below, and you can post photos so that we can see your creations. I'm using this stamp set here, which you guys have seen me use plenty. I love this one. It is so versatile, and this is a Feel Better Soon card, which I have just stamped with an acrylic block and some VersaFine Onyx black ink. Here is where we're going to add a few little cool details to the card to make it finished into a finished kind of polished card. So I've just pulled the release paper off the other side of that double-sided scrapbook.com adhesive. I've added a layer of foam so that the front is completely popped up on my little card, and that leaves a really nice white border around the outside because my panel was slightly smaller than my card base. And again, just to step it up a little bit more, I'm adding the glossy accents into some of those petals. And then, as I said, I really wanted to try sprinkling glitter into the glossy accent. So you obviously need to do this before it dries, and that way it'll dry nice and secure, and there's no chance of any of the glitter rubbing off or coming off when the recipient gets the card. So I've just put a little bit on each one of the petals, and then for this one I'm going to sprinkle some silver glitter. I'm going to show you another version that I did as well, and I used gold glitter for that one. And then I know I talk about Nuvo drops and enamel dots and lots of kind of fancy dots and drops that you can put on your cards that are really nice finishing touches. However, if you don't have those and you still want to get that look, I just wanted to show you that you can definitely go simple. I really like using what I have in my stash, so today I'm just simply using a fine liner pen to add some black dots around the outside, not too big, and I really like the way that this finishes off the card, and the black dots coordinate with the outline and the stamp sentiment, and then that looks really good to me. So this is the first card where I use the silver glitter in the glossy accents using the die cut inlay technique, and here is another one that I made earlier on as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you've enjoyed these really clean and simple cards, and I appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!